Welcome everybody, you found the one spot in the real estate industry where you can get your facts real, raw and uncut. This is Real Estate Raw and Uncut, episode 7. Today, what's the topic? What do we got?
Well, new construction.
Yep. So
in a subdivision.
In a subdivision.
To build or not to build.
There you go. To build or not to build. What do you think?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question because you can look at it from a couple different perspectives. I want to take a positive spin first on this. Some people like risky investments, okay? And where the risk comes, reward. So let's say you're in a healthy market, or it's been a bad market and it's starting to get healthy, where the months of inventory in a price range where you're planning to buy in a subdivision are moving very quickly. And maybe there's 3 phases, but it looks like those, let's say it's 100 properties could get absorbed in a certain market in 2 years.
Okay.
If you're the first one in on that subdivision, chances are that if demand is higher than supply, your prices are going to go way up.
Yep.
So if you know the market and you're working with a good realtor who can tell you what's happening in that subdivision and in the market as a whole as far as absorption goes, days on market and months of inventory, you could be safe and you could make a ton of money.
If there's enough buyers and they're buying these properties up quicker than they can build, it's okay to buy in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to sell it for a higher price.
Correct. Now what if you're wrong? So if you're wrong and you've got, you're in a struggling market, and let's say you're in a price range, I'm just going to throw it out there, let's say 500,000 to 600,000, and it's taking, 20 months to sell the inventory that's currently there, and somebody opens up a subdivision that's got 3 phases, and there's 100 properties that have to sell.
Well, those months of inventory just went up because they already were 15. Loaded.
So so what are you doing? You're
oversaturated that market.
You have, and I would always recommend to my buyers at that point not to purchase in that subdivision. In fact, don't even purchase till the end of the last phase. Don't even look at that subdivision.
No, I mean, because if you want to sell, say you want to sell, you get relocated in 3 years.
Okay, so we're in phase 2.
Right. We're in phase 2 of the subdivision. You want to sell. You were one of the first people into an oversaturated market. It's going to be like driving a new car off the lot.
Off a cliff.
You're going to turn around, the dealership's going to say, nah, man.
So let's look at that scenario. You've owned it for a couple of years. Maybe it's up, your property has stayed about the same as far as value goes. But there are 70 more properties that need to get built. Now, you've got kids. You've put some wear and tear in 2 years on your house. Yeah. If I'm a buyer, do I want to buy your house or do I want to buy brand new construction? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are you...
If I'm going to get new, I'm going to go all the way, baby.
So you're a developer. You've absorbed some of the costs on your back end with the land.
Right.
And you know that you're competing against this guy that just came out on the market. You as a developer, you're going to beat this guy every time.
Oh, yeah.
You can beat him.
Yep.
So
you control the land cost.
You do. So let's look at another scenario. What if you're in a subdivision and maybe the developer has been hurting for the past few years, and
are there a lot of those out there?
Well, grass growing up around the machinery that's in the subdivision.
Is that a sign?
It may be. Either that or they need a really good landscaper. Yeah. Jody Shealy, by the way, lawn
there you go. Hey, there's your shout out, Jody.
He's good with weed whacker.
Yeah, he is. He's really good.
So if that's the scenario, then you're really at risk.
Yeah.
You are, because you can't compete with the developer. The developer could, in fact, he could be so close to financial implosion that you may hand your money over to that guy, and he may not finish the job.
On a construction loan, yeah. So now if you're, you want the builder to take the risk, ideally, if you're coming into new construction, build a home, I'll pay you.
Spec it out, do the work.
I'll pay you at the end.
You're going to have a traditional closing.
Right, exactly.
Not tiered and not in increments like they typically do. Because if his financial situation isn't everything it should be, you may be giving him a check for $7,500,000, and it may be his heyday.
You better vet that builder out very well to find out if you're giving your money to the right guy, because he's got control in that situation.
Or have your cousin Vinny visit him with you.
If you've got a cousin Vinny, send him over. But yeah, that can get really dicey, and if he goes belly up and he just starts selling off the land, you could have a buyer come in, just buy a lot for half of what your lot costs.
So what are you saying? So this guy traditionally was selling, let's say he's selling the lots for 100,000,
Right.
but he's in rough shape. So he needs
He's just
money.
going to sell the land to pay off the rest of his loan.
So let's say you reach out and he sells them for 40,000 or 60,000.
Somebody comes in and builds the same house that you have, their comp is already 50 or 40 or 60K less than yours.
You just destroyed the value of those homes that were purchased prior to you. So again, we come back to...
And you're stuck in that home now for the next 15 years like a tree in the ground. You are stuck.
Or you could utilize the services of Seaport Property Watch to rent.
Sure, you can get property management in there and kind of watch your property, rent it out and move. Yeah, why not? And move somewhere else. That's always an option. But do you really want to be faced with, a tough decision? If realistically you can only afford one mortgage, do you want to be faced with that tough decision of, oh man, should I rent it out? I mean, if you're in a different price bracket,
right?
Yeah,
So
options are great.
create options. Don't ever put yourself into a situation where your options are limited.
Don't be forced into a corner because some builder now ruined your comp in your development.
So I believe it really comes down to making a good decision, and the only way that you can make a good decision is if you have real information. So every situation, every market, every subdivision is different.
Absolutely.
You've got to get answers to those questions.
There's some beautiful subdivisions out there, and depending, like you said before, on the market and the demand, you can really have success building in a subdivision.
Absolutely. You just need to know your numbers.
Right.
You need to know the market. I think the only people that can do that for you are a realtor, not a realtor that just has numbers that are being generated by its company, because that's just an overview of the market.
Yep.
You really have to dice those numbers up into increments.
What have we seen here specifically in this market? There's a number we always talk about, new construction to resale ratio that's happening right now.
80%
Yeah.
value, so 20% off the top right now. It's like your analogy.
In this particular market.
Yeah, so if you buy a brand new home that was just built, and maybe the exact same home was built with an almost identical lot next door, the minute you turn the key on that, you're losing about 20% of the value. Because
That's real dough right there.
But you may have just created, a home that you couldn't find anywhere else, and we all need the utility of housing.
It comes down to your motivation. Do you want a home or do you want an investment? And that's a whole nother topic of, is residential real estate an investment? If you're looking for your traditional home in a subdivision, it's not an investment. That's your home.
Unless that market is
Right.
taken off and supply is low and demand is high.
It can be, but I would venture to guess in your average American community right now, it's more of a home than it is an investment.
Yeah, and it does come down to land
and
land value. Now, if you want to hedge your bet and your risks, you may want to buy a single wide that has wheels on it, and don't put the skirt on it, because you need to move it, and then you can change the value of the land, and you can move it around the country if you want.
This guy lives in a single wide. I mean,
I think this is a single wide.
He's always talking about it, but it's all good. So there you go. Subdivision, find out if it's the right move for you, for your market. Get with somebody that knows the facts and figure it out. Right?
That's that. Give us a call, and we'll help you out in this market. And if you need somebody in another market that we think does their due diligence, we'd be happy to point you in their direction.
Absolutely. Guys, real facts, transparent, real estate, raw and uncut, every single Friday. We've committed to bringing you a new show every single Friday. So please subscribe up below. You can find me on Twitter at Byron Lazine.
tbray at Seaport RE. Have you seen my baseball?
Where is it? I haven't seen it. See you next week, guys.
You ever seen that movie?
Something
Something about Mary?